It's getting down to the wire as the House is scheduled to be voting early next week to move forward with the reconciliation bill. I have all the details in this video, so let's get into it right away. But quickly, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe right down below the video as I do a lot of research on this stuff every single day. I boil it all down into these short videos and I deliver it to you a few times each and every day to let you know what is going on, especially all of these updates regarding the stimulus packages with all of these stimulus proposals and provisions to be added into this $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill. Not only that, all of these other provisions out there to raise and increase benefits like Social Security, SSDI, SSI, VA, RRB, and ultimately more relief in the form of stimulus checks, monthly recurring payments, and or possibly even guaranteed basic income for low-income and fixed-income beneficiaries. I'll keep you up to date with all this stuff going on, so if you like the sound of that, make sure to subscribe right down below the video. Totally free to do so, and I will be here for you every single day going forward. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Let's get into it and talk about the latest updates and this vote that is going to be held next week on all of these packages. All right, so over the last week and a half or so, since the Senate went through and they actually passed the final vote on the first portion of the stimulus packages, the infrastructure package, they quickly moved into the budget resolution, which remember, last week I reported that to you right away. They passed it, and once again, they forwarded that onto the House of Representatives. Now, we have both of these packages in the House right now for them to actually start voting on it. Well, it is scheduled for early next week. In fact, people have mentioned that the vote is scheduled for Monday evening of next week. Well, as we've mentioned so many times now, we will certainly not hold our breath on anything simply because we always see tons of delays when it comes to these votes. However, they are anticipating a vote on this next week, Monday evening, to advance this budget resolution, which will ultimately unlock the privileges to start moving forward with the budget reconciliation bill, which is big, big stuff. We need to go through this process right here to actually open up the doors officially, and then everything will be wide open. The reconciliation bill will be wide open for everybody to drop anything they could possibly ever want into that package. Now, here's the thing. Even though technically it is not quite opened up yet, we have one more door to open, which will be in the House, hopefully next week through this set of votes, which I'll get into in a little bit more detail here in just a second. But even though that we do not have the doors officially open yet, we're already starting to see a lot of these proposals and provisions hitting the table right now for what people want added into this reconciliation bill. However, Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi are going through this intense juggling act right now, trying to get everything, sorted out and keep everybody within their parties very, very happy, right? So now, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer are both leaders of the Democratic Party in the House and in the Senate. So here's the thing. Now that Chuck Schumer has sent everything over to Nancy Pelosi in the House, let me let you know where we stand with these votes. So here's the thing. Just the other day, actually on Tuesday, Nancy Pelosi drafted and sent out a letter to her Democratic colleagues saying that the president has endorsed the moving forward with the House rule, which allows them to move forward and bring these two packages to the floor in the House for voting, which will ultimately open up the doors to actually start moving forward with the reconciliation process. So this is actually good stuff. So they have the endorsement. They can start moving forward with this. Now, here's the thing. They're going to bring it to the House floor next week for this initial procedural vote. Once that goes through, assuming it will pass, again, there's kind of some back and forth on that right now because, progressives are saying one thing, moderates are saying the next, and it's kind of like this little tug right now where they're kind of going back and forth between each other, kind of figuring out, okay, let's find like a happy medium, right? So anyway, Nancy will be bringing this to the floor next week in the House. Once this first procedural vote actually passes, then it opens the door for them to actually run through the actual final votes on these packages, like in individual votes. So it's not going to be like one blanket statement to kind of like pass everything simultaneously in one major vote. It's basically going to be open up the door to allow them to bring these packages to the floor individually, if this makes sense. So yeah, a lot of voting going on, but some of this should be going down next week, early next week, Monday evening. But once we get this final vote on the budget resolution, it's done. Then it is an open door to open up the reconciliation process where they can technically start moving forward with this thing. So right now, it's kind of like in this limbo stage where we need this final set of votes to actually finally open up the last door. There's been a lot of doors opening, and finally there's one more set that we need to open up, which will be happening in this set of votes. But then, Nancy Pelosi, again, she has like this juggling act that she's trying to do right now. On one hand, she has progressives who are saying, we need to have this reconciliation bill accompanied by the infrastructure bill, all of it together. Meanwhile, on the other hand, she has moderates who are saying, we're not going to vote for the budget resolution unless we actually have a passed and signed by the president bill for the infrastructure. So she kind of has this kind of great divide that she's trying to work with within her own party right now between the progressives and the moderates. However, we've seen this play out before, right? We've seen this play out so many times over the last year and a half now. Here's exactly what happens. There's a lot of talk, a lot of game thrown down, and then all of a sudden at the end of the day, eventually they all come together and they all are very happy, right? They eventually come together and they work something out. They find somewhere to meet in the middle, and then everybody's happy at the end of the day. So I'd imagine that's going to happen once again with this, but it's just a matter of kind of bringing everybody together and finding that place where everybody's happy. So that should be coming as well. But either way, they're going to get it done. I mean, let's just be real. Nobody's really going to block anything. Everybody talks big, but at the end of the day, they don't really deviate from their parties. Even like people like Joe Manchin, who is a moderate in the Senate. He's come out many different times and says, I don't support this. It's too big. I don't really like this. I don't like where we're going with this. And at the end of the day, when it comes down to voting, who does he vote with? Yeah. He votes with his party. Now, he may come out and say something like, well, I need some concessions. I need something to actually get me a little more convinced, a little bit more invested into this bill. And ultimately, they get him what he needs, and then he votes in the favor. So they may need to do that as well in this case, Nancy and the people over in the House. But either way, it'll all go down. I mean, seriously, they're not going to hold it up for the most part. They all talk a big game, but they'll all come through. So either way, next week will be a good and exciting week. Once again, some more votes. Basically, the same process that we saw last week in the Senate. We'll basically be doing the same thing next week in the House of Representatives. So, good stuff, right? And then we can still continue to watch all of these other proposals and provisions coming in for this next reconciliation bill. It's a long process. I know. We need this thing passed immediately. We need relief out to the people. We need that fourth stimulus check. We need monthly recurring payments. We need permanent raises to all the benefits like Social Security, SSDI, SSI, VA, RRB, anything else we can get for low income and fixed income. But here's the thing. It is like a very, very slow process. But along the way, we're also getting a lot more information as far as what's going to be added into this big reconciliation bill, right? So that's kind of where we are right now. I wanted to give you this latest update on where we stand with the voting process, but it's good stuff. I mean, seriously, we went through the same process last week with the Senate. And once again, like every day, it was like, okay, they're supposed to be voting today. And then it was like, oh, wait, just kidding. We have another little setback. It should be voting tomorrow. Oh, wait, just kidding. We have another little setback. And eventually last week on, I think it was Tuesday of last week, they finally voted and got the thing passed. So I kind of anticipate it may be the same situation next week with the House of Representatives. Even though they say Monday, we'll see about that, right? But either way, I will continue to keep you updated with all this stuff going on right now. There's so much going on right now. This is a time where we need to make sure that we stay on top of everything because literally any moment's notice, with all of these people out there speaking right now, with all of their different ideas for what they want to add into this package, it's only a matter of time until we get one person, that's literally all it takes, one person to come out and mention something big. And then boom, you start getting a whole bunch of support behind it. You get a bunch of people to start rallying around these ideas. And then ultimately, it makes its way into the package. And then before long, this thing just gets passed through the Senate and the House, signed by the president. And before you know it, you've got another package on the table, right? We've got all this stimulus and everything like this. So we've seen it happen so many times before. It's so slow, the process. And then eventually, when they get down to it, it's actually kind of fast, right? It actually works its way through the process very quickly. And then before we know, it's like, whoa, what just happened? I think they just passed another stimulus package, right? So I will continue to keep you updated, but This is good. Finally, we've been waiting for some more updates. We've been going for about a week and a half now with not a whole lot going on. A little bit, but I mean, it hasn't been really anything substantial. But in just a matter of a couple days from now, we should be getting way more good information when it comes to this reconciliation bill. So, hope this helps you out. I will continue to keep you updated as we get further information. Enjoy your day, and of course, any other stimulus provisions or any other programs or anything else coming out right now regarding low income, fixed income, Social Security, SSDI, SSI, VA, stimulus checks, monthly stimulus checks, recurring payments, universal basic income, guaranteed basic income, you name it. I will continue to do the research right here, and I'll bring it to you each and every day. So enjoy, subscribe right down below the video so you don't miss out on any videos here that we're bringing. This is a very important time right now. And I am your one-stop shop for everything you need to know right now. So thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you again in the next video.